Hey guys, it's Jacob, aka skaxdad, and I want to wish you a very happy new year. Thank you for the love and support for the Base to Base podcast. We're going to keep going on through 2021. Today's the very first interview of the year, and this is with Jeff of Riverview. I want to give a quick shout out to the pop punk communities on Facebook. I put out a pop punk song with my band Late Again earlier this year, and I joined a bunch of communities. I put out the song. I put out my interview with Ryan from Goalkeeper, and I got nothing but like positive responses and people reaching out. So because of networking and because of that Facebook group, I actually met Riverview and College Radio, No Home, and it goes on. So just a quick shout out to that community and a shout out to you for listening. Please enjoy this interview with Jeff from Riverview and check them out on Spotify. Let's just get started. When did you know that music was gonna be a part of your life? Or
Yeah, so I kind of dabbled around in music for a long time. I mean, I knew it was just a passion that I had, um, ever since I was a young kid, just with listening to music and finding bands that you liked, or your mom would take you to the store, and you buy CDs for you. This was like long before YouTube and all that. You probably can relate to that with everything. So I mean, I always knew it was a passion of mine, but I didn't really get seriously into playing and learning music until I was probably in my early 20s. I guess about 10 years ago.
okay, so
18, about 18 to 20. I started, playing guitar and just reading tabs and stuff when I was in high school. But after I graduated high school, I kind of took it a little more seriously when I had more free time and, started taking lessons and stuff. So
oh
it's been,
nice.
yeah.
Um,
But I'd say early on, man, first time I heard System of a Down changed my life. My
yes,
my my parents were classic rockers, so I grew up on like Black Sabbath and Zeppelin and all that good stuff. And then I kind of, once I found straight from the path of the classic rock into new age, new metal and shit like that, was kind of
damn.
cool. So
Do you remember like what system song that that you heard that kind of drew you to them?
yeah, I think the first time I heard like Chop Suey, and I was just like, this is like what is going on in my ears right now. Like, just it was just chaotic, and it was a lot, and um it was just crazy. But I listened to, like, I guess, when I was a kid, like Korn was cool, and Disturbed and stuff like that. And then System of a Down was just like, to me, heavier, and I was like, this is like heavy. And
Yeah,
it was like chaotic.
for
It
sure.
had melody, but it was like chaotic, and it was, a lot of like radio stuff wasn't like that at the time. So that was pretty cool, finding that or whatever.
Yeah, man, I love System too. The new stuff's great. It just sounds like System.
Yeah.
Um, do you remember like any songs like where the bass like maybe stick out, or like just any songs like growing up that you really remember the bass player or bass lines
Uh,
from?
I grew up like loving guitar. Like, guitar was my
Mhm.
thing. I've played guitar my whole life, or not my whole life, but since I've been playing musical instruments, guitar was the first thing I picked up and been playing. So bass, like recently, like the last 4 or 5 years, has been something I've been playing in a few bands. And Riverview, my band now, they needed a bass player, and I can play bass, and I was like, hey, I need a band. So I was like, it worked out pretty good. But um, I'd say bass like has been standing out to me a lot, like in maybe more like indie rock kind of bands. Like, it seems like the bass lines are a little more prominent. I like Movements a lot. I don't know if you know Movements.
Yeah,
They're Yeah, so they have some awesome bass lines, and it's kind of like, I feel like the bass complements the lead guitar a lot because they only have one guitarist right now, and so he plays a lot of leads, and then they just have the bass kind of backing it. So I think that kind of sounds cool. But my my true love, like, I don't know, once I got out of like the new metal phase and I started like getting into music, like my love was like hardcore, was big for me. Like, I was big into hardcore bands, and like Knock Loose has like killer bass parts, like just heavy, like dirty, sounding bass. And I love when it's just a drum beat and then the bass is just playing and it's
Yeah.
like a break kind of,
Oh yeah, man.
like that hardcore music like is just like to me awesome. So, but yeah, I mean, I just, the bass fills everything in, and playing live with, a bass rig and stuff is just feels like you can feel like the bass just punishing behind you. So
Yeah, dude,
that's
especially
the fun
heavy
part about
music.
it. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
heavy music playing and drop tuning. So it's,
Uh,
it's all fun.
yeah, for sure. So we don't have to like stick strictly to bass. Like, I guess
Yeah.
when you were like, I guess what drove you to start learning guitar?
I think just music, like I said, when I heard like System of a Down and like kind of started venturing on my own music path of my interest, it wasn't like someone else showing me music. I was starting to find my own music and my own bands that were cool. Um, I kind of 180'd. I was in like the new metal, Limp Bizkit and like, Slipknot and all that was like big when I was like in middle school and stuff. And then um, I kind of like 180 then, and then I heard Under Oath for the first time, and I was like, what is this? Like, this band is like heavy, and they have like their clean vocalist is like singing, but their screamer sounds like so awesome screaming. And I was like, the music just sounded really cool, and Under Oath was kind of chaotic too. Like they have those like discords, and but then it gets so melodic when they have the choruses and stuff. So like when I heard Under Oath, I feel like my music like my music like that I was interested in just 180, and Under Oath just blew my mind. Um, it was when They're Only Chasing Safety was out, and then I think Define the Great Line like was about to drop when I found out about Under Oath. When like I was listening to They're Only Chasing Safety, and I was like, wait, they're about to have a new album out. It was just like a mind-blowing experience. And then like from then on, it was just like, okay, I love listening to this, but how do I play it? And like, you know, and that kind of just drove me to it. I think just the love for music. You kind of listening to it's one thing, but like playing along with a song or something like that, it's like a whole different joy. And then as I learned more, musically and got better at playing, playing with other people is just like the best thing too.
Yeah.
So
So like whenever you started learning guitar, were your intentions to like just learn how to play like the music you liked, or did you know that you wanted to like create your own music?
I think early on it was hard. I was bad at creating music
Mhm.
and writing music, so a lot of it was just learning songs and trying to play along with songs and gain speed with picking and stuff and technique like that. I started going to a guy. His name's Dale Prasco in Chesterton, where I grew up. I actually grew up around the Chicago area, so I started taking lessons from this guy in my town, and he went to Berkeley out in Boston for music, and so he's like real renowned with like music theory and everything like that. So I learned a lot of like more theory and like scales, and I was learning chords, and we were learning kind of everything other than metal and stuff. So that's where I got a lot of the guitar knowledge from was taking lessons with him. And then I would take it home and I would put it towards learning songs and learning keys and stuff and finding scales and doing it by ear. So I think that helped me with learning guitar. And then I was able to take it home and kind of put it towards listening to music I liked and then making it work with my type of music, because he was like a jazz rock blues player. But it's all kind of relative as you know
Yeah.
put music together. It all kind of follows the same patterns. It's just in different keys or tunings or scales. So but yeah, that's that really just sparked my interest, and I just kind of ran with it. So that was fun. I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, yeah, that's badass, especially to learn like theory and scales, like kind of when you're starting. I think gives you just an advantage.
Yeah.
Writing.
Yeah, for sure. And then the writing process has helped sped up and got quicker for me, and I got better at it because I was understanding music better. Early on, I was just reading tabs and working on my own, and I wasn't getting better as quickly as I was when I started, taking lessons and, kind of being forced to like learn theory and stuff like that. A lot of it, you kind of can bang your head off of something for so long, and sometimes you struggle to get past like a block. But having someone else playing with someone else or learning from someone else is really beneficial. So I think that helped me kind of take it to a new level and take it more seriously, and forced me to keep practicing and learning new things that I wouldn't necessarily learn by myself sitting at my computer with YouTube instead of just learning covers or something like that. So that was a awesome time in my life, and I'm glad I came across him, and I'm still friends with him to this day and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's definitely awesome to hear. When did you start playing like in the live scene like in Chicago?
yeah, so probably in the last I'd say 5 years. um, I actually was playing just in jam bands or cover bands. I never really got into too much traction with an original band up around Chicago. It was mostly just, you know, like trying to record with bandmates, or we would have a band, but we wouldn't play anywhere. We just try to record. We were like trying to record an album, and then you get bored, and then you start a new band. And so it was like, kind of going around in circles with that for a while. Um, but, and then about well, I guess it's been about last September was a year. I moved to Little Rock for my job. So when I moved to Little Rock, that's when I came in contact with Tyler and Jacob, our drummer and our guitarist.
Mm-hmm.
I met them on Instagram, and just was like on a comment on a post. I was like, does anyone like listen to metalcore or like hardcore or pop punk around Little Rock? On just like some Instagram page that was like Little Rock music scene or something like that, and uh, and Tyler, our drummer, messaged me and was like, hey, we need a bass player. And he was like, I was like, sign me up, and it was like the easiest audition ever because I never played for them, and he was just like, okay, you're in the band, and it was like sweet. So
Man,
my audition was basically telling them what bands I like, and they were like all approved, and then they're like, okay, you're in the band. So it's been a fun experience and cool meeting those guys, because when I first moved down to Little Rock, it was a new city and a new area for me, and I didn't know a lot of people. So definitely getting into the music scene, and obviously shortly after that, COVID and everything. So we've not been able to play a whole lot or at all. Actually, we've all been just working on recording and getting our single out, and working on our EP that'll hopefully be out in February or March.
yeah,
So we got a lot of stuff in the works, but it's been good getting the single out.
yeah. I mean, if it's gonna sound like the single, I'm stoked because that sounds great. I was definitely like I don't know, not surprised, but I was stoked for the quality. The quality sounds really good, like mix and stuff. Um,
Yeah, I think the one thing that we're stoked about with the song is, besides Tyler, our drummer, who used to be in another band around Little Rock that had some good traction, and they were pretty established for the region. They'd go to Texas, they go to St. Louis, Little Rock, Memphis. They were playing like weekend tours and small tours and stuff, so they had some traction. But besides Tyler, no one else in the band is really from the scene down there. So I
oh,
think we're excited to kind of hopefully break on, and with COVID, passing, and us kind of working on some music, we can hopefully start, playing right away and hitting the ground running, and hopefully surprising some people, because everyone else in the band, like I'm from Chicago, and Jacob, our and Brady, our guitarist, like they've not really been in any local Little Rock bands where in the scene or whatever, and then Garrett, our singer, is kind of the same way. He's worked on a lot of side projects and his own things, but it's never been anything in the Little Rock scene. So we're excited to hit the ground running and hopefully have our EP out and be able to start playing some shows and hopefully surprising some people and making a name for ourselves. So
yeah, definitely. I'm stoked because that sounds like it's gonna be the first time playing live and stuff, and just that experience, like
Yeah,
it's so cool.
yeah. So for a few of us, it will be, and then new to the area, so we're just excited to get going on it. But so far, the feedback's been good on the song, and I think it's just helping light a fire under all of us to keep it going. So
Yeah, for sure. So I know you said you moved for work. Did you? So you brought your gear. Like, were your intentions also like, hey, I'm moving. I'm definitely gonna continue playing music.
oh yeah, for sure. No, that was never a thought that I'd stop playing. The first thing I thought of was like, how am I gonna weasel my way into a band or find some people that like good music? So moving down south from Chicago, I was like, what's the scene like down there? I was a little worried. But my first few months in Little Rock, Kubla Khan played a show at a pizza place in Little Rock. So I was like, all right, this is going to be pretty cool. If this is the first show I've gone to, it was pretty kick-ass show, and I like Kubla Khan a lot. So
Yeah,
that's
that
a band. That's a band that I'd say would inspire me with bass, because Kubla Khan has a lot of prominent bass lines, and it's just heavy as shit, and I love that.
yeah, super heavy. Are they from Houston? They
I think
Texas?
they're from like the Dallas area,
Okay. Yeah.
but they're from Texas, yeah, and just brutal, man. I love
Yeah.
it.
Hell yeah. So when you're writing or when at Riverview's writing, like, are you just focused on bass parts or do you try to bring some of um, the
Um,
guitarist in
I,
you?
I'd yeah, I'd say going forward, I'd like to be a part of the writing process just in general, with everything, just because I do play guitar a lot, and I do play bass a lot, but um, it was kind of weird because not weird, but the timing with me coming into the band pretty much was Riverview already had the EP recorded as a demo, so they've pretty much got all the music recorded in demo format, and Garrett is probably going to put together. We're probably going to finalize our last song, which is going to be kind of like an acoustic, building into a full band song. So, um, yeah, really, really, I came into that after they kind of had everything written. So, uh, Tyler and Jacob, our guitarist and drummer, um, they recorded a lot of this on their own and working together, and then everyone else kind of came in. So for the single, I wrote the bass part for it, um, and this has all been done remotely because we're with COVID and quarantining, and I'm actually in the Chicago area right now, so I'm not down in Little Rock. So they sent me like the files and everything, and I recorded my bass line on it, and then Brady, our lead guitarist, recorded the leads for it, and then Garrett, I think, went to Jacob's apartment and recorded the vocals. So it was all kind of just put together in pieces, and then Tyler recorded the drums in a studio in Little Rock. So he recorded 2 songs in the studio. So we're hoping to have the other song out by around Christmas or the New Year. But I guess to answer your question, like you said, like I kind of came in late and joined the band after they kind of had everything written. But I'm constantly writing and sending stuff to Jacob and our other bandmates, and trying to see how we could fit stuff into new songs, or if it might be a lead part, or a bass line or something that we could turn into a song, just little things like that. So I think when we write our first album and go to a studio and stuff like that, I want to be definitely into that process of doing all that. So
Yeah. It's so wild how technology has come as far as like for bandmates or band
oh yeah,
members. So right now, I mean, during this time, like for quarantine, is that primarily how y'all are, I guess, like practicing
staying
or
sane.
communicating? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, staying sane for sure. I mean, music, I got like a little studio set up that nothing special, but I mean, I can sit and play for hours, and it kind of frees me because I'm working remote, so I work from home, and you get cabin fever just sitting around all day, working all day and then not leaving your house. And so trying to be safe, COVID conscious through it all. Tyler works at like a nursing home or something, so he's kind of been around COVID, and COVID cases. So we've kind of held off from jamming and practicing, Plus, like I said, I've been up around Chicago because of the holidays right now. I'm up with family. So I'll be back to Little Rock after Christmas, and we'll probably take it from there. But yeah, I just think, technology, like you said, and recording is so much easier these days. I mean, there's bands that we listen to that probably have written their first couple albums on their own. They don't go to a studio; they write it on their own studio setup, and that's becoming more common these days. And back in the day, 90s and stuff, you'd have to go to a studio and record everything. You didn't have an app, iMac or an interface and studio monitors in your basement to do all that. So I think overall, yeah, just kind of staying sane, playing music is kind of kept me in a positive mental state with everything going on. And we've also been able to record our parts and send them, via the internet and email and, our studios and stuff like that. So we've been able to get our single written, and then we sent it to the guy that did our mixing and mastering, and he took care of it and sent it back to us a few times, and we tweaked some stuff, and then it was good to go. So it's definitely been a blessing having the technology there to help us through it. But obviously I think we're all ready for this to end and be back to normal and be able to get together once or twice a week to practice too, and play shows and stuff like that. So
Yeah. So what is like, in your opinion, what should like bands be doing to kind of get their name out or their single out, like in this time of
yeah,
quarantine?
I think it's been cool what a lot of bands have done. I mean, it's really been awesome watching a lot of these bands that I look up to and that inspire me, do these live streams. I think that's been really cool, especially with some of the money and technology they've thrown into doing these live streams is pretty awesome. Under Oath, for one, I watched their live stream. They did theirs. And then I just watched recently the Devil Wears Prada and the Architects one. They had one. So that was cool seeing bands do that. We didn't have the, setup or ability to do that, but that would be something cool. I think that hopefully that will stay and bands will be doing that, going forward, whether we're back to normal or not. I think that's just something awesome. I love when bands do that. But for us, I think, and maybe smaller bands, I can't speak for everyone, but in my opinion right now is like a good time for us as a band, because we're not rushed to like throw together an EP and get it out and get it on YouTube or the internet to like promote ourselves. We can take our time and we can nitpick it, or we can make it how we want it, and we're not rushed through that process because we can't really do anything anyway. And it's allowing us to build a presence online with our social media and hopefully grow our fan base locally while we're quarantining and working from home and can't be out doing it, playing shows and stuff. So I think it's we'd rather be out playing and doing that stuff, but it's also forcing us to really give the best EP we can here with these songs we've recorded and spend time on it without being rushed and feeling like we gotta get it out so we could start playing shows and stuff like that. So I think for local small bands, it's probably good to that they're focusing on writing and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, everyone wants to play shows too. So
Yeah. When your EP comes out, is it something where do you think you'll want to say like independent and DIY? Or are you gonna try to like shop it to labels? Like what are kind of your future goals?
I think there's some small like labels that we might want to be a part of, like with local Little Rock, just like friends and stuff from the scene. But I think we'll probably try to stay independent and do as much as we can DIY as long as we can, just because money's a big thing and stuff like that. So we'll probably work that out. I don't know if we've really discussed that as a band yet, but that's kind of our thoughts. But we do have some friends and some contacts that we know through the scene, or Tyler knows through the scene in Little Rock, that it'd be cool to work together, support each other. I think that's the cool thing about local bands and smaller bands and local scenes, is that everyone kind of works together and wants to help each other out, and it's just a cool vibe going with that. So
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also, with the technology and COVID, or not even just COVID, like just now, like if you ask a band, if you want to be on a record label, the answer is not always like
Yeah.
yes anymore. It's just like you want to do a DIY, you want to have that hands-on and that community. So
Mhm.
I think that's really cool. Cool of y'all.
Yeah, I think the goal, like when you were a kid, was like, I want to be in a band, I want to be signed to a label, and that was always like the dream, Um, but I think as like you said, as people, we've gotten a little older and times have changed, and technology is a little more advanced. It's like there's no need for that, you know. So I'm sure there's pros and cons to it. We'd have to, look at all that, but I think doing it independently and DIYing it as much as you can is a good. It feels good too, and gives you a sense of accomplishment when you start to, build momentum and things kind of start going in your favor. You start seeing your fans messaging you more, or your Instagram likes and Facebook going up because you've been grinding out shows and playing the crappy shows to get to the better shows. So
Yeah, y'all still need to play the crappy shows. What?
yeah, oh yeah, the crappy shows are good, man. It's
Yeah,
fun because you could
so,
sit back and crack a beer and be like, "Remember when we played that place?
yeah, for
There's
sure.
3 people there and a grandma."
Yeah, Jacob's grandma's there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's cool, man. What's your like setup now? What are you playing?
Um, I actually just got a new bass. I had a Fender Jazzmaster, and I picked up one of these. Let me look real fast so I can tell you. I got one of these Stingrays. It's not a Music Man, but it's like the
The
um,
Sterling?
the Sterling Music Man Stingray
Yeah.
or whatever. I picked one of those up recently, and I still have the Fender Jazzmaster. Um, so my rig is just it's actually an off-brand 4x10 cabinet, and I play through a 200-watt head, and it's also a relatively off-brand head. It's an old one. I want to upgrade. I'm actually going to probably buy. I want to buy like an Orange Terror or something like that. So that's probably my next purchase, to upgrade the live rig a little bit. But my basses I like a lot. They play really well. The Jazzmaster and then that Stingray. So um, I
Yes.
I yeah I had more. My guitars, I have uh, an ESP Deluxe EC1000. That's kind of been my go-to guitar for a long time. I have an Ibanez S2, just an RG. That
Yeah.
was my first guitar, but the ESP, I mean, is just like a staple in rock and metal and pop
Yeah.
punk. It's just a
Yeah.
very universal guitar. So
Yeah. Like the Eclipses just remind me of like metalcore, just super
yeah,
heavy. Just yeah.
like Old Devil Wears Prada or like stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have my guitar rig set up. I have a PV 6505 plus, the 120-watt tube head. And then I have a 2x12 Harley Benton cabinet. I don't know if you have heard of those or know it. It's
Yeah,
got
I've heard the brand.
they're from Germany, and it has the the vintage 30s, which are in the orange amps. So I found it online, and it was cheaper than the orange cab. I mean, it was half as much or whatever. So I was like, I'm gonna give it a try, and it worked out really well. I think I got it for like $250. It's a 2x12 cabinet,
Dang.
so yeah, it's pretty awesome. And that's my guitar rig. So I've definitely put more love into the guitar rig. So I'm working on upgrading some of the bass stuff.
Yeah, it'll all come in due time. Figure
Yeah,
out what you
yeah,
like and stuff.
yeah. I want to change the pickups out on that Stingray that I just bought, and that's my next move there. I just haven't had time to do it yet.
Nice. What are you looking into?
I might just try to duplicate the Ernie Ball and put the Seymour Duncans in it,
Okay.
but I don't know. Any recommendation?
Um I'm normally say stock. Like the pickups that I've liked the most have been like Bardellini's, but I
Okay.
don't know if they have them for Stingray style. I would
Okay.
imagine so. But I know like bare knuckle are
Yeah,
also
bare
like
knuckle I like a lot too. Yeah.
what
So
people are
we'll
using.
see. My friend has the same bass, and he plays it, and he bought the Seymour Duncans for it. I like the bare knuckles are good too. So I'll just have to do some searching around, see what I can find.
Yeah, yeah, for
It's
sure.
one fun thing. One fun thing about music is gear too. You know.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, you still like, is it a 4 string? Like, you
Yeah,
playing
it's
four
four
string
string.
right
Yeah.
now? Yeah, like
Yeah.
5 and 6 strings or like
Yeah.
effects or whatever.
Yeah.
There's so
Well, as
much.
much time as I spend playing, I feel like you always spend like twice as much time looking at gear, and
Yeah, window
you
shopping
know,
for me.
yeah,
Just
exactly. What's the next big purchase or um but yeah, no, that's kind of my current setup. So like I said, I kind of want to upgrade my bass head pretty soon and get something a little better for that. But for now, what I've been rocking's been doing all right. So
yeah, I'm sure there's still some time with COVID and stuff. I don't know about in your area, but like here in Texas, it's getting worse
yeah,
than it was.
yeah,
So which
Chicago's kind of the same way. It kind of is spiked and stuff. And there's just you know we're not going to be playing like little bars or something like that, where they're still having some shows and bands playing right now, but it's just too risky with everything, and it's just not worth the time probably, where we
yeah,
could be focusing it on recording and getting the music right.
yeah,
um but yeah, I got some time, not really rushing it. I mean, I probably, who knows, it could be till next summer before things kind of get back to normal. So I'll keep playing stuff,
yeah,
playing stuff, and see what I like and what sounds good. So I know I'll make the right decision when I splurge next time. So
yeah, for sure. So where can people listen to Riverview?
so if you go on Facebook, our Facebook page is Riverview, or I guess it's Facebook is just Riverview Official, is our page. But our Instagram's at Riverview Band AR for Arkansas. Um, on both of those social media platforms, there we have our song on the Instagram TV, and on Facebook on our page you could find the Facebook video that we posted of the song. On Facebook, it has all our links to YouTube and all our social medias as well. But we're also on Spotify, Apple Music, basically every major streaming platform are singles out right now. So if you just search Riverview Band or Riverview, it'll pull our band up, and you can stream it through those networks as well.
Cool. And where can people find out more about yourself?
About me, if you guys follow my Instagram, Hefe Hefe 9 is my Instagram, and that's where I have basically all my uh, personal stuff. My link on my bio is my link to Riverview as well. But if you get on our Riverview Instagram, it's the easiest way. We have all of our personal pages linked through the bio on the Riverview Instagram, and that's the best way to follow us all, check us all out, see what we're doing through quarantine, and post maybe some snippets of some new songs and recordings. So
Cool. All right, man. Well, I thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me and being a guest here. Definitely stoked to put this out, and definitely
yeah,
stoked to hear more of that EP
yeah.
coming out.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. It's been a pleasure. Glad we got to catch up and talk music, man. I've been following your page for a little bit, so I was getting stoked to get on here with you and run through everything.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Have a good night, and I will talk to you later.
All right, take care, man.
All right,
Thanks.
later.